The weather people outdid themselves this time. On a day that was supposed to be possibly a potential washout, there was not one single delay, and all the tennis went off just as planned. To start the day at Arthur Ashe in the morning was the Bryan brothers, and a great one with Nestor Pospisil. I said this wouldn't be easy. I also said that Pospisil physically may be a little bit tired, and Nestor has been showing signs of old age. Put it no other way I can put it. They did kind of fold a little bit at the end and in the last set after winning the first set. Nestor supposedly was serving. I didn't see all of it, but he was serving fantastic out wide and down the tee. So Bob Bryan usually covers the deuce court as a lefty, and then Mike Bryan's the righty. He covers the ad court. When they come to the net, they both are on their forehands covering the middle of the net. So it's great strategy. It's worked for them for years, but Bob was really in trouble against the right-handed Nestor because he was serving it really wide to Bob's backhand and then whipping it down the tee. So Bob asked Mike, let's make a switch. They switched over, and it messed Nestor up. But I think it might have been coincidence, too, that it was just getting later in the match, the pressure, old man yips, what have you. Either way, the Bryans are number one, and they're trying to complete a season grand slam here, so good stuff there. The crowd was loving it. Murray came on after that, and he struggled at first with the humidity, not surprising, but then he took over after that just by pounding the ball, basically. Just, playing, taking it early, pounding it, just not letting Meyer do his tricks. And Florian Meyer, did not look 100% either. Serena, she went up an early break right away, and then got broken back, and then broke to win the first set. And then she kind of took over after that. Sloane, the scoreline in the second set looks bad. It really didn't look that bad to me. I thought Sloane played pretty well. It's just, to me, the energy level was completely different between Sloane and Serena. Serena wanted this. She punched her fist through a brick wall, basically. And Sloane just was like, okay, I'll be ready for the next time. I'm not, it was just, it is what it is. You can't just go by the way these people act on court. I mean, for God's sake, we're not in their head. We're not in their body. We don't know exactly what's going on. And I certainly don't. But it was what I kind of predicted was, I think Sloane has it all physically and talent-wise and in a lot of other ways, too. Her progression, whatever, all the different things. And she's smart. If she could get in touch with the crier, we could give her some even, help her with the conditions more. But anyway, I'm kidding. But the facts are that Sloane's smart. She's talented as heck. The only thing holding her back is mental, and however you want to diagnose it or break it down or figure it out, I'm not even going to do that. It's just there's a lacking there. She gets, I think, when she's a little nervous, which I think she said she wasn't, but I think she kind of, it was an overwhelming task. She knew Serena was going to really want to punch her. I don't care what the talk is. It's the big crowd. It's Serena's time. She was feeling fit. You cannot tell me there wasn't some nerves going on, and every time I see Sloane a little bit, uptight with the occasion, her energy level dips. It kind of puts a cap on it. Like she can't let the energy fly. She doesn't have to scream and yell, but it's in the legs, it's in the feet, it's in the arms. It's, But even saying that, Sloane made some shots, and that I'm just like, she is right there with Serena on a talent level, in my opinion. Most people would disagree, maybe. I think she is right there. People say, Serena's much more powerful. I don't think much more. I think speed-wise, Sloane has it. There's an athleticism that Sloane has that I don't even think that might be better than Serena, honestly. I think Sloane is incredibly talented. I remember watching her dad play football for the New England Patriots, and her mom's an athlete too, and it's all in the family. And I'll tell you what, it's just as she keeps maturing, everybody's going to have to watch out. As long as she can stay fit and healthy, that's the main thing. Djokovic, Sousa was just, it's too much now. I mean, but what a great run he had. Nadal and Yankovic, too much for Yankovic. I'm laughing because she was former number one. I can't believe would say that, but she physically can't. She can't handle the physicality of the game. When she got to number one, she made some tweaks. She said in her, I don't know, she started lifting weights in her diet or something. She's never been the same. Whatever went on. When she got to number one, something went on behind the scenes, and she's never been the same. She's always got the sniffles, an allergy, a physical issue, tired, fatigue, something. And in saying that, I'm not taking that away from Nadal. Of course, Nadal has found a newfound aggression, is playing really well, comes to the net, is finding her game. I mean, she's been all summer. She's been playing well, but yeah, that's the end of that. All right, what do we have? This was a great one in the morning. Wawrinka, Baghdatis. Actually, it wasn't that great at first. They both looked a little sluggish. Bago got the first break. Wawrinka broke back and broke again. Then he went up a couple breaks in the last second set. Bago's just a little bit out of form. He physically seemed pretty good for him. That's great. His fitness seemed well, but I just think he's a little bit out of match form. And even though Wawrinka had a back injury lately and has been kind of out of it, he's been having a great year. So in those big points, that was a struggle for Baghdatis. And more than anything, his return game, his service return game, wasn't as good as it can be, not even close. He had a lot of he was struggling all day trying to get the returns right, even on second serve. And that would mess him up on the big points. Wawrinka's level, I mean, it was a very humid day. Everybody had a little bit of struggle. At least a little bit, some more than others. And Wawrinka's, he came down a little bit in that third set. You almost can't blame him. He almost got broken for the set, and then he ended up getting killed in the tiebreak. But to his credit, he hung on. He went down a break right away in the last set, and it took him a while to get the game going again because Baghdatis was starting to feel it. Still, Baghdatis' returns, he did it a couple good returns, but he just didn't quite have that match form. And, Wawrinka broke back. They had some massive games in the end, a massive tiebreak. It was fantastic. Wawrinka went up the mini breaks. Baghdatis got them back, but then Wawrinka got the last one. Just a little bit more form for Wawrinka, that's it. But, Bago is amazing. It almost doesn't matter. As long as he's relatively healthy, watch out for him in a slam, Grand Slam, and especially at night. Okay, Kerber. I mean, this thing was a war. I thought it would be brutal, but it was beyond. I mean, I don't want to be so politically correct, but it was like Vietnam War. I mean, my God, it was just went on and fighting. And I mean, Navarro is such a sweetheart. She's smashing her ball up against a wall. She's so upset. The crowd was booing. I kind of like to see the fire from her. But, Kerber, fought. She doesn't have the same energy as last year. She simply does not. It's physical. She's had a lower energy all year, and I think in the end it took her. She's more powerful than Navarro, and she was able to, even though Navarro's forehands and backhands have been fantastic, the lack of power kind of did her in that first set, but Kerber's energy came down. Then Kerber I can't believe it. I thought she was going to get killed the third set, the way she was looking fatigue-wise, but she fought like really hard, but I don't even know how she got it to a tiebreak. She barely did. Navarro was serving for for the match and got a little tight, but Kerber got it back, got it to the tiebreak, but then, she simply didn't have the energy in the tank that Navarro did at the end. They were both retired, but Kerber just didn't have it. And but what a match! And I can't see Navarro doing much the next round now, but we'll see. And there's another guy, Tommy Haas. A little bit of injuries now going on. I think there was something wrong with his foot, if I'm correct. I missed that piece of the match, but I think the commentator said that. Definitely a little something, because he was shooting the ball all over the court. Making errors. Yet he's a fighter. He figured some things out in the third set. Usually he got a little crazy, too. He got a little upset, kicking things, and, luckily for Yuzny, he got it back together in the last set. He was just very solid and consistent, and Haas didn't have his full capacity. Plus, I think these balls, and I think combined with the injury effect, the ball was flying on him. And again, it's very humid and slow, but these balls are so lively, and I don't think it's in the air now, the compressed air. I think it's actually in the rubber of the ball. And I kind of thought that before, because even with the air can be light, it can be heavy. It does affect it some, but it's still jumping on a heavy conditions like this. Yeah, you're not going to get as many aces and stuff, but the ball still jumps. And if your strings are too loose, if you're looking for more power and loosening the tension, that ball's going to fly. And so, if you're a little bit off on your strokes, on your stroke production, that can happen from injury or fatigue. Your ball's going to fly, and it's hard to be accurate with it. You've really got to be on with these balls. If you are, you're going to be rewarded greatly. If you're not, huge mess. That's why we're seeing scores like 6-1 and 6-11, crazy scores. We're thinking everybody's injured. Some people are, but a lot of people aren't. It's just these balls are a delicate balance. It's making the fine nuances of the game, the slim margins, even slimmer, because these balls are jumping. Makarova-Radwanska is a perfect example of that. Makarova was a little bit sluggish to start, a little bit, I think, in the brain, more sluggish, nervous a little bit. Radwanska, wasn't hitting it too hard, but these balls were jumping, so she was getting it through the court and doing her job, and she went up 4-zip. And then Makarova finally started to find her range. She has more natural power than Wadwanska. And as she found her range, she didn't overdo it, and the balls were shooting through with her. They were really pounding through. And now Wadwanska had to find something extra, and then she couldn't control the ball. The ball started kind of flying on her. At other times, she was trying really hard to control it, so it was too short. It was too weak, too strong. She was missing here and there. It was getting messed up. She was losing all her rhythm just because Makarova started to find that easy power. And Makarova, to her credit, though, was very patient, didn't overdo it, didn't pull a Coco Vandeweghe and hit it all over the stadium, and won the next 6 games. And then won the first 2 of the next set, got broken back, went to 2-2, and broke Wadwanska again. And then at 4-3, serving to make it 5-3, Radwanska, they had a really long game, break points, and again, the new mentality of Makarova. She hung in. Both girls, I mean, Radwanska looked a little bit more struggling from the humidity and stuff, but, the night air, too, is a little slower again, so that makes her have to try to hit it harder and do things, but forget about all that, too. I mean, in addition to that, Makarova could have easily crumbled, and in the past she would have. This Fed Cup experiences, they've talked about it with Djokovic and other players, Verdasco. The Fed Cup experience is really the team tennis thing, where Makarova's done so well for Russia lately, has really helped her. She hung on, made it 5-3, then closed it out to love at 6-4 for the match, with some good serving and stuff. So, fantastic stuff from her. Radwanska just bad luck in a way, to be honest. The night, the hot, humid night, the slow conditions, the way the ball is this year, all combined together, and her grandfather just passed away. I'm not sure that had a little bit, probably not much. I mean, I'd rather say it's more the ball, the conditions, and just Makarova playing so well. But maybe that too. It's just a cluster F, and it went wrong, and Radwanska's out. So upset city this year at the U.S. Open. Berdych, no problem with Bennett too. He was really not in great form. He had an easy draw. Hewitt, Donski. Donski's more of a challenger, but he has some shots to do some stuff on the ATP. He's going to have to work on some parts of his game and try to stay off the disabled list. Again, his fitness was a problem all year, but he came along in the Challenger in Aptos, and he had a great U.S. Open. Took a set from Hewitt. Hewitt probably was, fighting a little bit of fatigue and stuff, but, by the end, I think the mentally, this just all wore on Donski, and it was over. Hewitt was also blitzed the net. He rushed the net like 40 times. He was really aggressive, and that was the way to do it to Donski. Put him under pressure. Great job by Hewitt. Smart guy, veteran. Granola's, he's just a good player, honestly. I mean, he's mentally and physically always up and down. Again, another 5-setter, the third one for him. But when he does go down a set, he kind of tanks it. So I think he's been saving energy a little bit. Plus his opponents, Ram was definitely struggling, as he always does, with the fitness stuff a little bit. And just his game can only go so far, Ram, but he has a great game for these courts, but still. Smizik was having a back issue. I'm sure that had something to do with, plus he's played a lot of tennis, not just the U.S. Open, but this summer. So, the sad thing is Smizik was up 4-1 in the last set, and that's just also not being there, and Granollers has had bigger matches in his life, so, yeah, whatever, but sorry for Tim, but he seemed to be handling it well in this interview. The Ender pairs and Stepanek, this was a great match with Lodra Mahut. As I said it would be. And as I also said, Pace is getting a second win. He's showing a lot of young energy again. Stepanek's been injured, so he has a lot of extra energy. Lodra and Mahut are tired right now, and it really came out that last set, their fatigue. Istomin, again, another guy, he jumped on Seppi. Seppi's not 100%. He has some injuries he's carrying with him, so his power is a little bit worse than it usually is right now, and Istomin just pounded on him, but then Istomin got really fatigued. He couldn't move his feet, and then between the third and the fourth and the fifth set, or at some point around there, he had an MTO. The doctors came out, gave him some pills, and suddenly he seemed better in the last set. He still was a little tired, but definitely could pump it up better. And then Seppi started showing fatigue. There was one long game, and then Seppi got broken, and then it just fell apart. So I think mentally, too, with the injuries and the fatigue and the humidity, and he thinks he had Istomin in a comeback, all that kept together, I think he just went, ugh, and that was the end of that. So Istomin's through, but my God, what's he going to have left for Murray? Anyways, the rest of the stuff we had was Baker and Ram. Ram lost another tough one. Unbelievable. They're out to Andy Murray's brother. And then a lot of juniors. Mirza got through with Zhangji.